NFL fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show. Today we're going to be talking the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going to go over the roster, the moves they made in free agency, and we're also going to do a 7-round mock draft. Let's get into it. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, it really helps us get into the algorithm. And if you want more Steelers draft content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. PFF gave the Steelers a B- overall grade for their moves in free agency. Let's first kick it off with Mason Rudolph. He is back, 1 year, $4.5 million deal. Okay, now we're going to move on to Darius Slay. They definitely needed an upgrade at the cornerback position, but this is only a 1-year deal, $10 million fully guaranteed. I do love that for Darius Slay coming off that Super Bowl win with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's still a solid player. He was a top 10 guy in the NFL last year, and only a 1-year deal makes a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that doesn't negate us from adding a cornerback in this draft. They also added linebacker Malik Harrison, the contract 2 years, $10 million. He's a rotational linebacker piece. They also traded for DK Metcalf. That's a huge deal, man. And he signed that extension, 5 years, $150 million. He's going to be the guy. Will him and Pickens be able to coexist? We'll have to see how that all plays out, right? I'm not really sure. They're both very hot-headed wide receivers. I expect some fireworks in Pittsburgh nonetheless. They also lost Justin Fields. He signs a 2-year deal with the Jets. And Najee Harris goes over to the Chargers, right? So they weren't super busy in free agency. So that gives them some serious opportunities to add to this roster in the draft. Let's do it. 7-round mock draft for the Steelers coming up. All right, Steelers fans, real quick, let's take a look at this roster as the starters right now and see some positions in need. The left end, definitely a position of need. The linebackers look pretty solid in my opinion. A nose tackle, we could add that. Another corner, definitely. The safeties look okay. The left tackle, Broderick Jones, first round pick in 2023, he just hasn't become the guy. Back-to-back 57, 58 graded seasons. I don't know. Troy Fautano got hurt, didn't play a lot last year, only 55 snaps. So we'll have to see if they're going to keep him at left tackle or right tackle. That remains to be seen. And then right guard, definitely a position of need. Mason McCormick, the rookie in 2024, was not very good either. Definitely some upgrades and add some depth to this room. Wide receiver room looks pretty good now. And also, I would like to see, obviously, a quarterback at some point in the draft and a running back. Okay, let's get into the 7-round mock draft. We're drafting 21 overall for the Steelers. A guy like Kenneth Grant makes a lot of sense, man. He could play that nose tackle in this scheme, 6'3", 339. Dude's an absolute freaking monster. I do love that. Or they could go offensive line. Do they want to give Broderick Jones another chance at left tackle? I'm not really sure they do that. Bringing in a guy like Kelvin Banks, he's an absolute monster, 6'4", 320. One of the few guys who I think can stick at left tackle. He's only 21 as well. So I'm not sure where their headspace is around the left tackle position. Are they going to put Fautanu there? They're going to keep him at right tackle. It's kind of a mixed bag right now, for sure. Kenneth Grant seems to be a very interesting pick. I do like Walter Nolan as well. Omarion Hampton could obviously be a very big addition to this roster, but I think getting a running back in the second round makes a little more sense, right? Yeah, tackle definitely makes a lot of sense, but so does the D-line. Kenneth Grant is just such a valuable prospect, especially getting him at 21 overall. For me, it's between Kenneth Grant and Kelvin Banks. I think they fit the scheme the best. But Donovan Ezeraku is great, but they have two really good outside linebacker / edges in Watt and Highsmith, right? So for me, where do we go? Steelers fans, in the comments down below, let me know. Would you go Kelvin Banks, the tackle from Texas, or would you go Kenneth Grant from Michigan? For me, I really want to add to this offensive line. I think right now, if you look at the defense, they're in a lot better spot than they are at offensive line. So guys, I'm taking a flyer, man. I'm going Kelvin Banks. I know Steelers fans might kill me for this, but that offensive line is not good enough, especially for a team that wants to run the football. 81 run block grade. He could do the gap scheme and the zone scheme, and he's an excellent pass blocker, right? This team, whoever the quarterback is, needs to be protected, right? So Kelvin Banks, I'm taking a flyer on him at pick 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we're up 83 overall. We don't have a pick until the third round. Linebacker Chris Paul Jr. does make some sense for sure. They definitely need a safety. A guy like Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State could make some sense for us as well. Wyatt Millum, I do like Wyatt Millum. He's definitely fallen down a little bit. Charles Grant, another guy I like for sure. But for me, we need to go either running back, which could be really interesting in the third round. RJ Harvey, DJ Gideon, Devin Neal. The Steelers not having a second round pick really hurts them. Straight up. But a guy, Damian Martinez, I'm going to target him with our next pick at 123. So I'm going to go past the running back position, right? I'm going to bypass that. So now I want to go D-line. One of these safeties, Castro or Winston. Castro regressed considerably in that Iowa Hawkeyes defense in 2024. And Kevin Winston, he got hurt, right? I think if he doesn't get hurt, he could be a first round, early second round pick, right? I love Kevin Winston Jr. Very talented guy, 6'2", 208. He's got great size, and it was just a partial torn ACL. He wasn't on a full tear, which is, better, right? Obviously. So as I'm taking a look at all these players available, a lot of offensive line depth. Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech is on the board as well. Rucker from North Carolina, the edge defender. I do like him. He's a talented guy. Will Howard is on the board too from Ohio State. Man, let's take a look at these quarterbacks. Any way you slice it, Steelers fans, you got to bring a quarterback in at some point. Jackson Dart still on the Dylan Gabriel still on the board. Tyler Shook still on the board. So there's definitely a lot of quarterbacks to choose from. I'm taking a safety for sure. Kevin Winston Jr. goes to the Steelers in the third round, right? All right, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, let's take a look at how we drafted so far. No second round pick because we traded for DK Metcalf, right? Calvin Banks, solid. Kevin Winston, another pick I really like. All right, now we're up in the fourth round, 123 overall. I do like Will Howard, man, because he's got the size. 6'4", 235, and he looked decent enough at the combine for me. 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 120 rate. I'm doing it. I'm getting the quarterback here in the fourth round. Will Howard goes to the Steelers at 123 overall. Now, we're up in the fifth round, Steelers fans, up in the fifth round. When we take a look at the roster, cornerback is definitely still a spot I'm looking at for sure. Not really looking at the tight end position. Linebacker, not so much. Take a look at this roster. Bringing in another pass rusher could make some sense. A corner could make sense, and a guard. So I think we can get a guard in the 6th or 7th round, probably. So let's take a look at this cornerback situation, and we're also going to take a look at edge. Okay, Quincy Riley, he had a down year for the Cardinals. Obin, the edge defender, not really the pass rusher that we want. We need a guy who can get to the quarterback a little bit. Ja Joyner, 6'5", 265. We wouldn't look at these D linemen too a little bit here in this spot. All right, where are we at? Ingram Dawkins from Georgia. He could make some sense here. 6'5", 280. Tonka Hemingway, another D lineman that I really like. Had a really good 2023. Definitely regressed a little bit this past season. Tim Smith, a guy I like, but he might be for a little bit later on in the draft, right? If we're taking a look at the potential prospects to bring in to this organization, Obin is the better of these edge defenders. 6'3", 262, but he really fits that outside linebacker mold than he does like an actual D lineman for the Steelers, right? As I'm taking a look, guard Tyler Cooper is on the board. Luke Kandra is on the board as well. He's a great pass blocker. I think this could be an interesting spot. He gave up no sacks at all this past year, only one quarterback hit. That's extremely impressive, right? Very impressive. Kobe King, I do like him. Isaac Tesla had a really good combine. He ran really well. Connor Colby, another guy that I like. Gap grade's pretty low there. Ja Joyner. So a running back could be a definite addition in this spot. So let's take a look at running back. Kyle Monangai from Rutgers. could make some sense. Tootin from Virginia Tech, almost 1,200 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns. More of a zone runner than a gap runner. I like versatility with my running backs, right? A guy like Kyle Monangai makes a huge amount of sense. 1,200 yards in back-to-back years, 13 touchdowns, and caught some balls out of the backfield as well. I do like him. Yarns from Delaware, smaller school guy, 5'11", 183. A little too small for me, especially the way this offense is set up. Kyle Monangai makes a little more sense, right? Jaquindon Jackson from Arkansas, I do like his tape as well. But for me, I think Kyle Monangai is the guy. 92 overall grade in 2023. Their offensive line wasn't great at Rutgers this year. I'm bringing him in the 5th round. The defense for me is looking pretty strong, guys, so that's why I'm going offensive heavy for the Steelers. Big offensive lineman, quarterback, running back. Now, Tonka Hemingway, the D lineman, that could make some sense here, guys. 6'3", about 300 pounds. Jalen Lane, the wide receiver from Virginia Tech, I do like him. His tape was pretty good. Jack Nelson, another guy that can make some sense for me. Super talented guy. Tufana from Utah, 6'3", 308. He fits that kind of 3-4 D lineman. I'm going to bring in Tafuna for the Steelers in the 6th round. Now we're up in the 7th round, 229 overall. We want to just find the best available player. Holland Pierce from Rutgers, really, really solid guy. Played right tackle, played left tackle, could be a swing guy in this offense. Okay, Hunter, Waller, Jackson. Tim McKee from North Carolina State is on the board. Ty Robinson, Dylan Fairchild from Georgia, a guy that I like. Pretty solid guy. Played right guard and left guard at his time in Georgia, and he's a great pass blocker. Dylan Fairchild, they need guard help. I'm going to bring in a true guard that you don't have to teach a new position. And like outside of that Notre Dame game towards the end of the year, he had a really great last 5 games of the season. Very impressive stuff. 6'5", 315, great size. I think that's a steal in the 7th round. All right, Steelers fans, here's our mock draft for 2025. Kelvin Banks, Winston, Howard with the first 3 picks. We killed it. Absolutely crushed it. And the last 3 picks, we only got 6 this year. All right, 156, 185, and 229 overall. I want to bring some depth to the offensive line because whether it's a rookie or it's Russell Wilson again, we need to protect the quarterback more than anything. We got some weapons by adding DK Metcalf, so we need to protect whatever guy is playing quarterback. We needed a safety big time. I liked Kevin Winston Jr. I think he is a 2nd round pick if he doesn't get hurt, right? So I think that's a great value pick in the 2nd round. Will Howard, I like his size, big framed guy, tall, can see over the offensive line a lot better than a guy like Russell Wilson, right? And then I added a running back, interior defensive lineman, and a guard. All right, Steelers fans, let me know in the comments below. Do you like this draft? Do you not like this draft? Losing that 2nd round pick is a big deal, but we brought in DK Metcalf, so there is some solace in that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Peace.